All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're taking a deep dive into eavesdropping attacks.
A topic that's more relevant now than ever. I mean, think about it.
With everyone working remotely, using public Wi-Fi,
Yeah. Public Wi-Fi, coffee shops, airports.
it's a hacker's paradise.
Oh, yeah. It's like shooting fish in a barrel sometimes.
And you wouldn't believe some of the stuff we found while prepping for this deep dive.
Oh, man, some of these stories are pretty wild.
Like, did you know that even your smart speaker could be used for eavesdropping?
Yep, those things are always listening. Creepy, right?
Totally. Okay, before we get too freaked out, let's start with the basics. What exactly is an eavesdropping attack?
So basically, imagine someone listening in on your private conversations.
Okay, got it. Like old school spying through a door kind of thing.
Right, except instead of a door, it's your devices. Your computer, your phone, your tablet, even your smart TV.
So it's not just about someone overhearing my gossip at a coffee shop?
Oh, it's way worse than that. They can get your passwords, your bank details, all sorts of personal information.
Well, they do this by how exactly?
Think of it like this. Every time you go online, your data is sent in little packets.
Okay, like little digital envelopes.
Exactly. And these packets travel across networks, like public Wi-Fi.
Which is unsecured, right?
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah.
So hackers can use special programs to intercept those packets,
They basically steal those envelopes, open them up, and see everything inside.
pretty much. They can then piece together your online activity like a puzzle, figure out where you go, what you do, what you buy.
That's unsettling, and it sounds really hard to detect.
Oh, it is. That's what makes it so dangerous. There's no big red flag, no flashing light saying, hey, you're being hacked.
So you could be sitting in your favorite coffee shop, sipping a latte, totally oblivious that someone's stealing your data.
Happens all the time. And what's worse, it's not just limited to public Wi-Fi.
Wait, so even my home network could be vulnerable.
If it's not properly secured, absolutely.
So even working from home isn't a guarantee of safety.
Sadly, no. Hackers are getting smarter all the time. They can exploit weaknesses in your router, your modem, even your smart devices.
Okay, this is getting scary. So what kind of information are these cyber criminals actually after?
Anything they can use, really. Bank account info, social media logins, credit card numbers.
But also like browsing history, emails, personal files.
Yeah, all of that. Even your health data, which can be worth a lot on the black market.
So they're not just after my money, they're after my entire identity.
Pretty much.
Ooh.
And once they have your info, they can do all sorts of damage.
Okay, hold on. Let's back up a bit. How do they actually listen in?
Well, we talked about those data packets, right?
Right.
So one way is through programs that capture those packets.
Sniffing them out as they travel across the network.
Exactly. But there's another, even sneakier method. Malware.
Malware, like viruses and stuff?
Yep. They can hide malware in apps, websites, even emails. And once it's on your device,
They have access to everything.
pretty much. They can track your keystrokes, steal your passwords, even turn on your webcam and microphone.
Wait, seriously, they can watch and listen to me without me knowing.
It's possible. Some malware is so sophisticated, it doesn't even trigger those warning lights.
That's terrifying.
It is. Apple, at least, has started to address this.
How so?
They added an orange dot indicator on iPhones.
An orange dot.
Yeah. Whenever your microphone or camera is active, you'll see a little orange dot on your screen.
Okay, that's something at least. But what about Android phones?
Unfortunately, there's no universal indicator on Android yet.
So we just have to be extra careful.
For now, yeah. Always be mindful of what apps you download and what permissions you grant them.
Good advice. Okay, knowing all this, it makes you wonder what these cybercriminals actually do with all this stolen information.
Oh, that's where things get really interesting and pretty scary.
Give me the worst case scenario. What's the absolute worst that could happen?
Well, the obvious one is financial harm. They can drain your bank accounts, max out your credit cards.
Yeah, that's bad enough.
But it can go way beyond that. They can steal your entire identity, open new accounts, take out loans, even commit crimes in your name.
And then you're left dealing with the consequences? That's a nightmare.
It is. And then there's blackmail.
Blackmail.
Yeah, they can use compromising photos, private messages, anything embarrassing or incriminating to extort money from you.
It's like a digital hostage situation.
Exactly. And if you're a business owner, they can steal your trade secrets, client data, financial records.
It's not just about personal harm, it's about corporate espionage, too.
Absolutely, the stakes are high.
Okay, I'm officially freaked out. But before we spiral into a full-blown panic attack, let's talk about solutions.
Good idea. Because there are things you can do to protect yourself.
Like what? Give me the basics.
Well, we already talked about being careful on public Wi-Fi, but let's go deeper. First up, VPNs.
VPNs, those are those virtual private networks, right?
Yep. Think of it like putting a secret envelope around your data.
So even if someone intercepts it, they can't read it.
Exactly. It encrypts your internet traffic, making it much harder for hackers to snoop.
Okay, that sounds promising. What else?
Strong passwords. I know it's a pain, but
But it's essential.
absolutely. And don't use the same password for multiple accounts.
Guilty as charged. Any tips for managing all those passwords?
Password managers. They store all your passwords securely and generate strong, unique ones for each of your accounts.
Okay, I'll look into those. What about my devices themselves? Anything I can do there?
Definitely. Use strong passcodes or biometric authentication to lock your devices and keep your software updated.
Software updates, those are so annoying.
I know, but they often include security patches that fix vulnerabilities hackers can exploit.
All right, fine. I'll try to be better about that.
Good. And speaking of protection, let's talk about firewalls.
Firewalls, the digital bouncers of the internet.
Exactly. They monitor network traffic and block any suspicious activity, like having a security guard for your computer.
So they keep the bad guys out.
Yeah. And they can also prevent sensitive data from leaving your device without your permission.
So it's a two-way street. What about antivirus and anti-malware software?
Essential.
Yeah.
Think of them like having a security guard constantly on the lookout for threats. They can detect and remove malicious programs before they can do any damage.
So basically a multi-layered approach to security.
Exactly. VPNs, strong passwords, device security, firewalls, antivirus software. It all works together.
Okay, it's a lot to remember, but I'm starting to feel a bit more empowered.
Good. Because knowledge is power. The more you understand about these threats, the better equipped you'll be to defend yourself.
So what's next? Where do we go from here?
Well, now that we've laid the groundwork, let's dive deeper into each of these preventative measures. We'll give you some specific tips and tools you can use to build your digital fortress.
Sounds good to me. I'm ready to fortify my defenses.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so before the break, we were talking about all the scary stuff that can happen.
Yeah, the what-ifs of eavesdropping.
Exactly. But now I'm ready to hear about the solutions. How do we protect ourselves from all this?
Well, we touched on VPNs before the break. Those are a good place to start.
VPNs, right, those virtual private networks.
Exactly. They're like a secret tunnel for your data, so even if someone's snooping, they can't see what you're doing.
You mentioned different types of VPN encryption. Which one should I be looking for?
You want AES 256 encryption. It's basically the Fort Knox of encryption. Super secure. Governments and militaries use it.
Okay, AES 256 it is. Got it. How do I choose a good VPN provider, though? There's so many out there.
A lot of it depends on what you need it for. Like how much speed do you need? How many devices do you want to protect?
Right. I guess I should think about those things. Anything else to consider?
Well, you want a provider with a good reputation for privacy. You don't want them logging your data or anything like that.
Makes sense. So VPN for that encrypted tunnel. What else can we do?
Strong passwords. I know. Everyone says it, but
But it's true.
it really is. And please, don't use the same password for multiple accounts.
I know I'm terrible at that. Any tips? Like, how do you even keep track of all those passwords?
Password managers. They're lifesavers. They store all your passwords securely, and you only need to remember one master password to access them.
Oh, so it's like a vault for your passwords.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that sounds way easier than trying to remember a million different passwords. Any specific ones you recommend?
There are a few good ones out there. LastPass, 1Password, Dashlane. They all have different features, so it depends what you're looking for.
Okay, so we've got the VPN for encryption and a password manager for strong, unique passwords. What about actually securing our devices?
That's super important too. Always use a strong passcode, or even better, biometric authentication like fingerprint or facial recognition.
Right, so if your phone gets stolen, no one can get into it.
Exactly. And keep your software up to date. I know those updates can be annoying, but
But they're important.
they really are. They often include security patches that fix vulnerabilities that hackers could exploit.
Okay, I'll try to be better about updating. What about those firewalls you mentioned earlier?
Firewalls are like having a security guard for your computer monitoring all the traffic coming in and out.
Okay, so it's like a filter, right?
Yeah, basically. It blocks anything suspicious.
So it keeps the bad stuff out.
Right. But it can also prevent sensitive data from leaving your device without your permission.
So it works both ways.
Yeah.
Got it. What about antivirus and anti-malware software?
Those are essential too. They're like your digital immune system, constantly scanning for and removing any threats.
So basically, a multi-layered approach to security. VPNs, passwords, device security, firewalls, antivirus. It's a lot.
It is, but it's worth it. You know what they say,
Okay.
an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
True that. So, besides all these tools and software, are there any other things we can do to stay safe online? Just like common sense stuff.
Absolutely. One of the most important things is to be careful about what you share online. Don't post sensitive personal information on social media or public forums.
Right, like your home address, phone number, those sorts of things.
Exactly. And always be wary of clicking on links or opening attachments from unknown senders.
Those phishing scams can be tricky.
Oh yeah, they're getting more sophisticated all the time. It's best to err on the side of caution.
Okay, so be mindful of what we share. Watch out for phishing scams. Anything else?
Be aware of your surroundings when you're using public Wi-Fi. If you're doing something sensitive, like online banking, it's best to use a VPN or wait until you're on a secure network.
So even if the Wi-Fi network seems legit, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Definitely. And if you're using public computer, always log out of your accounts and clear your browsing history when you're done.
Right. Good reminder. So we've covered a lot of ground here. VPNs, strong passwords, device security, firewalls, antivirus software, and some good old-fashioned common sense.
It's a lot to remember, but the more you do, the better protected you'll be.
True. But technology always changing, right? What about all the new threats that are constantly popping up?
That's a great point, and it's why it's so important to stay informed about the latest security threats. You can't just set it and forget it.
So what you're saying is that cybersecurity is an ongoing process.
Exactly. And it's a shared responsibility.
Hmm.
We all have a role to play in keeping ourselves and our data safe.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. It's not just about tools and software, it's about having the right mindset.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to talk about next.
So we've talked about the threats, the tools. I mean, it's a lot to process.
It is, yeah. But the good news is, you don't need to be a tech whiz to protect yourself.
Right. It's more about awareness and taking those steps, like we talked about.
Exactly. And realizing that cybersecurity, it's not a one-time thing.
Oh, absolutely. It's got to be an ongoing effort. Technology's always changing. New threats are always
Popping up, yeah. It's like a cat and mouse game.
So, how do we stay ahead of the curve? I mean, besides all the stuff we already covered.
Well, one thing is to be mindful of what you share online.
Right, like we talked about before. No sensitive info on social media.
Exactly. And be careful about clicking on links, especially from unknown senders.
Phishing scams? Those are always lurking.
They are. Always double-check the sender's address, even if the email looks legit.
Okay, good tip. Anything else?
When you're using public Wi-Fi, be extra cautious.
Yeah, we talked about using a VPN for that.
Right, and if you're on a public computer, like at a library, always log out of your accounts and clear your browsing history.
Easy to forget those basic things sometimes. So what you're saying is it's not just about the tech, it's about...
It's about having a cybersecurity mindset.
Okay, I like that. A cybersecurity mindset, what does that look like?
It's about thinking critically, questioning everything.
Like, don't just blindly trust everything you see online.
Exactly. And be aware of your digital footprint. Every click, every like, every comment, it leaves a trace.
So think before you click.
Exactly. And remember, you're not alone in this. There are tons of resources available to help you stay safe online.
Like what? Where can people go for more information?
Check out websites like the National Cybersecurity Alliance, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency.
Okay, those sound helpful.
They are. And if you're ever unsure about something, don't hesitate to reach out to a cybersecurity professional.
Right, there are experts out there who can help.
Absolutely.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the biggest takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
That eavesdropping attacks are a real threat, but they're not unbeatable. With the right knowledge and a little effort, you can protect yourself.
It's about being proactive, not paranoid.
Exactly.
Well, this has been an eye-opening deep dive. Thanks for sharing your expertise.
Happy to help. Stay safe out there.
And to all our listeners, stay vigilant, stay informed, and stay safe in the digital world.